Can I stuff a zucchini ahead of time? Can I eat the skin of the zucchini? Do I have to bake zucchini for 45 minutes? What do I do with all the leftover stuffing from the zucchini? What can I serve as a side dish with stuffed zucchini? Well, I'd love to answer all these questions for you. Ciao, my friends. Welcome to my kitchen. My name is Chef Lucia, and I'm a nutritionist, and this is where I teach you easy recipes for everyday cooking. And today we're going to be making a stuffed zucchini. It is super simple, perfect for the summer, because I'm sure plenty of us have zucchini in our garden. To start with, we take our zucchini. I don't really trim the ends off. I keep them together. It'll just help hold the zucchini together. And we want to cut our zucchini lengthwise. And using a small knife, I'm just going to go along the edge and just kind of score really, where I want to scoop out the flesh. And then using a spoon, just very carefully, I'm just going to go through and scoop it all out. And you want to be careful. You want to stay about a 1/4 inch along the edge. So for the most part, I have got most of it out, but it's still kind of chunky. So I'm just going to go back in now and just kind of clean it up a little bit at a time, taking out even more. And then just kind of scraping along the bottom just to kind of even that out. We want to have as much space that we can in the hollowed out zucchini so we can actually put more of our filling in here. All right, so now that I have all the zucchini hollowed out, and I actually had 4 whole zucchinis, so I have got 8 halves, I'm going to pre-bake this, and this is going to soften the zucchini up so that I don't have to cook the dish for a total of 45 minutes. I can kind of get a head start here. But before I do that, I want to grab some olive oil, and I want to put a little bit of olive oil in each one of these scooped out shells. And then I'm going to take a little bit of salt, and I'm just going to salt the inside of the zucchini shells. And so I am going to put this in the oven at about 400 degrees for about 15 minutes, so it'll start the cooking process. And by the time we get our filling done, it'll be perfect, it'll be ready. So let me go ahead and put this in the oven. So we want to start with our filling, and the filling, you can pretty much do whatever you want for your filling, but for this particular one, we are going to be using a ground turkey. So to start with, we want a couple tablespoons of olive oil in our saute pan. So I'm just adding a small onion that I've diced. If you don't have a small onion, half of a large onion, or if you really like onions, go ahead and add the whole thing. It's totally fine. And I've got about 2 cloves of garlic that I have chopped up, and just a little bit of salt. And we just want to saute that for a few minutes until it gets kind of soft before we add our next ingredient. So now that our onions are kind of been sauteing for a few minutes, I'm going to add the ground beef. And the ground meat that the ground meat that I'm going to be using is actually ground turkey, but you could use ground beef, pork, chicken. If you wanted to make this vegetarian, you could do mushrooms, so whatever you would like. So we're going to kind of break up this ground turkey as it cooks, because we want these pieces to be really nice and small to fit in the cavity of the zucchini. So we're just going to continue cooking this until all the meat is almost cooked. So while our meat's cooking, all that pulp that we got from the inside of the zucchini, we're just going to chop it up real fine, and I'm just going to go ahead and use it as part of my filling. Okay, now that the meat is almost cooked, I'm going to add the zucchini that we've diced up. The zucchini really doesn't have to cook a whole lot because it's pretty tender, so it should just saute for a couple minutes. That will be fine. Now once our meat is cooked, we do want to taste it for salt and pepper. We don't want to be tasting it when our meat is raw. Okay, so now that all of our meat and zucchini is cooked, I'm going to add about a cup of tomato sauce in here, just enough to kind of hold it together. We're going to add some more later. And the tomato sauce, you can use any jarred tomato sauce, or I will have a recipe below just showing you how easy it is to make your own tomato sauce. It doesn't take much effort. So we just want to put enough in here just to kind of coat everything. Okay, and we're just going to set that aside just to kind of cool. And now we're going to make our ricotta cheese filling. Very simple. So for our filling, we have a container of ricotta cheese. I like the whole milk. It's 15 ounces. What I like to do is I like to actually drain this, because sometimes there's extra water in there, and I don't want this to be really a watery dish. So if you can drain the ricotta cheese first, that would be optimal. We want to add some Parmesan cheese to this. 2 eggs, and a couple tablespoons of chopped parsley. If you don't have chopped fresh parsley, you could use some dried Italian seasoning, like about a teaspoon, or oregano, or whatever your favorite seasoning is. And so we just want to mix all this up until it is well incorporated. All right, so our zucchini have been cooking. You can tell the skins are nice and soft. They're perfect. At least they got a good jump start on cooking. So to start filling, we start with the ricotta cheese. And I'm just going to spoon a little bit of the cheese evenly in each of the cavities. Now be very careful because this is hot, so you don't want to burn yourself. And you can add as much or as little. Of course, it's going to depend on the size of the zucchini that you have, how much you actually put in. But it looks like I'm putting in almost about 2 tablespoons worth in the ones that I have. And you can always fill them all up and then go back over them with more filling if you have some filling left over. But we want to make sure that they at least get an even amount. All right, so it ended up, I probably put about 3 tablespoons because I wanted to use all the ricotta cheese. I didn't want any left over. Now our meat. So I'm just going to take some of that meat and I'm going to sprinkle it on the top of each one of the zucchini. And you can kind of press it in a little bit if you need to. We're going to put some sauce on here, and again, you put on as much sauce as you would like. You might find that the sauce you already have on here is enough, and you might find that you actually like extra sauce. So I personally like extra, so I'm going to put extra on here, but again, you put on whatever works for you. Now I've turned the oven down to 350 degrees. I'm going to cover this with foil, put it back in the oven, and let it cook for another 20 minutes. And about 15 minutes in, I'm going to pull it out, and I'll show you what I do with it before I put it back in the oven for that last 5 minutes of cooking. So let me get that ready. So I just put some mozzarella cheese, last 5 minutes of cooking. I did put the broiler on just to get that nice golden crust. And so now we're gonna wait about 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm gonna plate it. But some of the side dishes that you can serve with the stuffed zucchini, you could do a roasted cauliflower, is great to add that vegetable. A fresh garden salad with some roasted acorn squash. We can also serve some butter herbed rice alongside our stuffed zucchini. And so those are some great sides that you can serve with this. But for tonight, I'm just gonna have some fresh sourdough bread with my stuffed zucchini. And I am Chef Lucia. Until next time, I'll see ya. Ciao, ci vediamo dopo.